The story starts with a 28-year-old overworked salaryman who leads an aimless life. His daily routine revolves around working, drinking, and sleeping. Convinced that he will never have a family of his own, he decides to squander his savings on his relatives, further perpetuating his dull and exhausting existence. However, his monotonous cycle changes a few weeks ago as he enters his house through the front door one evening and declares his return. An alien-like figure greets him with a reproachful remark about his tardiness. He explains that he missed the train, which caused the delay. The alien-like figure suddenly transforms into a human woman, her clothes and body marred by noticeable stains. Observing this, he inquires if the stains are blood. She coolly responds that they are fruits of her trying to cook. She then sends him to take a bath and do whatever he wants. Though she looks like a human being, the protagonist starts suspecting that his new girlfriend is not a human. Sometimes in the middle of the night, he wakes up to find his girlfriend sitting by his side in her alien form, silently watching over him. He believes that she never sleeps, so he hesitantly asks if she needs rest. She gently denies it, and with affectionate tenderness, she kisses him and urges him to return to sleep. Reassured, he complies as a senior employee. The protagonist cannot easily refuse invitations to drinking sessions with his colleagues. After one such evening, he returns home and greets his girlfriend. She remarks that he reeks of alcohol and the scent of other women. Her tone shifts to anger as she finishes her sentence, but the protagonist quickly calms her down, explaining that it was just a colleague. He assures her not to worry, but she talks to herself, saying she will point one day, as he goes to a convenience store and buys stag beetles again. The cashier tells him that she buys so much stuff from him. He says to her, "I am a breeder." She says it simply and then heads back to her house to find that his girlfriend is preparing dinner wearing an apron. She catches him staring, and assuming he has something to say, she dismissively tells him to save it until she's done cooking. Interrupting her, he presents stag beetles to her. To his surprise, she eats them. He bought the beetles because she seldom eats, despite preparing meals often. Though far from his preferred snacks, he respects her peculiar tastes. One night, the hero wakes up to the persistent rattle sound. He finds that his girlfriend is digging into drawers in a search for something. She apologizes if she is disturbing him when he asks her whether that's all right and puts his arm around her waist to inquire what she's looking for. She told him she was searching for dried crickets. He tells her they're in another drawer and asks her to hand him a soda. They sit down in the living room to unwind. She does not drink soda, but she holds the can for them as they watch television together. In a flippant conversation, his girlfriend asks if he goes fishing all the time. He retorts by saying if she hates fish. She states it is not the fish, but fishing she hates. Undaunted, he tells her how much he enjoys fishing. One day, on one of their outings, he catches an average-sized fish and proudly shows it to her. She jibes him, referring to the fish as being small. To his horror, she eats all of his bait before he could catch a larger fish. The protagonist frequently revisits the same bridge on which he once contemplated suicide. This time, on his third visitation, he abuses himself for lacking the courage to pull it through, yet still he jumps. Before the water hits him, the girl appears, saving him from drowning. When brought ashore, he questions her identity. She admonishes him for his foolhardiness and asks him to leave. Grateful, he tries to offer his coat as thanks and to shield her from the cold, but she vanishes. The following day, she appears at his apartment. One day, the couple fights. The same evening, when he comes home and starts greeting her, she pushes food into his hands and tells him to eat. On another occasion, while she is mimicking his words, he interrupts her and apologizes. The protagonist feels unwell and requests his girlfriend to give him his medicine. He informs her that he is running late for work. She declines and tells him she has already called his office to excuse his absence. He, jokingly, asks her for a pen to draft his will, claiming he feels like he is dying. She dismisses his theatrics, saying it is just the flu. While embracing him, she unexpectedly turns into her alien form. The next morning, he wakes up to find himself encased in some sort of silk-like material. When he asks her, she tells him that there is nothing to be afraid of, that he realizes that his girlfriend does not seem to nap or sleep. Still, on one winter morning, he sees her resting under a kotatsu with amazement. He thinks of the fact that even she needs rest sometimes, that he takes her on a date on a very cold winter day to watch the season's first snowfall. They sit out there in the cold as he watches her roast some sweet potatoes. She questions why he brought her outside when she could have made sweet potatoes at home. ignoring her remark. He enjoys the nostalgic charm of eating them outdoors. During their walk, a young girl bumps into his girlfriend, accidentally dropping her sweet potato. Frightened by his girlfriend's appearance, the child stammers an apology, nearly in tears. To the protagonist's surprise, his girlfriend kindly gives the little girl her own sweet potato. Later, the protagonist splits his potato, offering her the untouched portion, but she insists on having the piece he has already bitten.